You're listening to Business This Week on Radio Zolin, KROJ 101.5 FM. Expanding 2 decades of business, entertainment, and government. It's Business This Week with Saul Mejia. Now from the studios at Zolan Radio, KROJ 101.5. Here's your host, Sal Mejia.
Welcome back, Mr. Solaz, to Business This Week. Thank you for being here today with us. It's a pleasure to see you, and I wanted to have you on the show because obviously, endless summer is the perfect match to start the summer. This week we begin, in fact, tomorrow we begin summer, so we were more than happy to contact you and have you because we believe that that's the perfect thing to just get the summer started. So, how you been?
Great, so great. I meant to tell you before I forget. I love the title of your show, by the way.
Well, thank you.
Business This Week. I think it's the perfect title. I love it.
Oh, well, thank you.
Absolutely. Great name. And just very happy to be here with you again. And hopefully we're going to be smiling a lot more with entertainment coming our way, right? With this whole pandemic, hopefully behind us soon. And so I'm excited and happy, and hopefully we're looking forward toward the Roaring '20s again, right? From if you look at a little bit of the history, right, of what happened with that pandemic back in the day. I forget what kind of flu it was. It was one of those crazy flus that killed a lot of people. The entertainment world just went through the roof, and hopefully we're heading that way.
Yeah, we definitely see a change already. I was telling you before we start recording, I was telling you that actually for us, we were in California, we were supposed to open on the 15th, but even a week and a half before, we already start getting the emails, about the events that were going to happen, about the things that are coming up. And we knew, okay, it's time to, buckle up and start getting ready because it seems like, yeah, people are ready to go back to normal and really go back to do some of the activities that we used to do before we had the pandemic.
Yes, absolutely, man. I can't wait.
All right. Well, so how's the weather over there right now?
Very hot and very humid. Definitely in the
sounds like
summertime. In the summertime, Southern California has it a lot better than Southern Florida. It's you guys have dry heat. We have real wet heat.
All right. Well, to begin with, actually, before we begin, can you do me a favor and say hello to the San Fernando Valley?
Of course, San Fernando Valley, you're so dear to my heart. Just for everybody to know who might not know, I actually, as a child, got to live in Glendale, California. I lived there in the early 80s, and it was probably one of my most memorable stays ever in any city of the country. Lived there for 4 years, so San Fernando Valley is very dear to me. As a child, I was enamored with rock and roll, of course, and the whole Sunset Strip scene. So San Fernando Valley, you guys are awesome. I can't wait to get back, hang out, take in that San Fernando Valley air in my lungs, and just enjoy. So a big hello and thank you for being with us today.
So for those that don't know you yet, or they still haven't got the hint yet, can you tell us really quick a little bit about your history, how you got started, and how you end up becoming Solaz?
Well, it really goes back to, me being 13 years old and living in Glendale, California. Really the beginnings, and that's why I really mean it when I say San Fernando Valley is dear to my heart, is because I was living as a very young teenager in Glendale, California. And we had the explosion of just amazing music all around in the 80s. We had Duran Duran, we had Def Leppard, we had Madonna. I mean, you name it, man. I mean, some of the best music, in my opinion, in the history of music, as far as pop culture is concerned, right, came out in the 80s. And I happened to be lucky enough to be living in San Fernando Valley, specifically Glendale. And in my early teens, I bugged the crap out of my dad, and he finally listened. He refused for quite a while, but he finally gave in and bought me my first guitar. And I just absolutely I poured into learning the guitar, going through the growing pains. I literally, true story, I used to cry looking at the posters of my heroes in my bedroom. I used to cry looking at them and saying, man, I didn't realize how difficult this was gonna be just to learn how to play the guitar. And so I went through a lot of growing pains, but after the growing pains went away, of course, the music started flowing. And Glendale to me is everything. You know, every time I go to Southern California, I will make it a point to just drive by my old neighborhood, just to reminisce and just to say, wow, you know what, this is so important to my life. This is something that's very, very special and close to me. And even, you know, back in the day when we met, when I was living in Studio City, I would go back to Glendale just to, again, reminisce and enjoy, you know, not, you know, in this case, I was an adult, right, when you and I, you know, met. But yeah, I mean, those are the beginnings, actually, San Fernando Valley. So this is very dear to me, and this is very special to me, Saul, that you are in San Fernando Valley. To me, it's very symbolic and just amazing. It's kind of like full circle, right?
All right, and what are some of the success stories that you had after all that? Where have you played? Which are some of the countries you visited?
Okay, well, we're really fast forwarding now. But yeah, I mean, we've Solaz, you know, we've toured South America, and we've toured I wish I could say every state in the country. We haven't, but we've toured some states. We are right now, we're working with we do have an entertainment company, it's a nationwide booking company that is backing us for future tours. And we've already been in talks with some potential offers that are coming our way, and you know, just very excited about the future. You know, you know, live music is something that, you know, in my opinion, can't be replaced. The energy behind it, the production behind it, you know, the connection that you get with the fans is very, very unique. I've had actually people after a show come up to me and come in and just start talking to me, and they actually thank me for pointing them out in the audience and connecting with them. They say to me, hey, you know what, you made me feel like I knew you already. Just, you know, you were on that stage and the whole time you were singing to me and connecting with me throughout the whole show, and you made me feel so good, like I already knew you. You know, and that kind of connection is, I think, what the music fan and the artist is looking for. You know, it's one thing to listen to Spotify or iHeartRadio and listen to some good songs from your favorite artists, but it's another to get that live experience. And hopefully, we're gonna get to that at a large scale here with Solaz.
So, what were some of the cities that you have visited?
In South America, we've been to Moquegua, we've been to Iquitos, we've been to Lima, we've been to Arica, which is another country in Chile. We've been to, as you might know, we just filmed part of the new music video in Tuluá, Colombia, which was a very, very cool project for me to take, you know, Solaz and use some of the scenery in Colombia, of all places, right? And we actually got away with doing it in the middle of the pandemic. We did it in November. So the pandemic was in full swing. Thank God for me, when I hopped on the plane, or, you know, Colombia was not very demanding at the time. This is mid-November of last year. And they didn't ask me for a negative test or anything like that. I just had to make sure I had my mask on in the plane the whole time. And in the airport, of course, but it was awesome. You know, we got some great footage there, and right now we're in post-production of that.
You still haven't told me what the other cities you've been to, because I know you've been more than 2 cities.
No, I was saying, if I can remember, because you know, sometimes I get a little. Moquegua is a city in Peru. Okay. We performed at a huge stage at a huge festival. Wow, one of the coldest nights that I've ever experienced in my life. It was freezing cold. One of the drummer that night actually got sick. He was actually performing sick because the change of weather hit him like a bulldozer. So that was Moquegua. Then we performed in a city called Tacna, which is I don't know, I can't say how far, but it's far away. You gotta travel, you know, hours to get to Tacna. And then we performed in Lima, which is the capital of Peru. A big country Peru is. Then we performed, so it's Tacna, Moquegua. Then we made it over to Arica, which is the most northern point of Chile. Very cool people. People, if you're anybody here is from Chile, I give you a high five. People from Chile are something else, man. They're very open, very friendly, very just they make you feel like you're at home. I've done some. I did I want to say how many years ago it was. I can't remember, but I did a show in Quito, Ecuador. Of course, we've done. I'm trying to think of what other cities. There's another city called Arequipa, also in Peru, right? So we were definitely on a trek over there in that particular country. We made it over to Chile for a little bit. We were in Chile for about, I want to say 2 weeks maybe, and as you already know, we performed over in Los Angeles. You already know that.
There you go. That's what I was waiting for.
That's what you're waiting for. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, I mean, hey, we had to. One of the things, it's funny, again, coming kind of full circle. One of the things that I needed to check off my bucket list, talking about San Fernando Valley and LA County more specifically, because I don't believe the whiskey is in San Fernando Valley. That's another area, right? But me living and picking up guitar in San Fernando Valley, for me to be able to perform at the Whiskey a Go-Go, that to me was probably one of the most special performances ever, because playing in other countries, yeah, it's fun and it can be it's exhilarating, going to other countries and stuff, but you're just going back to the Whiskey, when I used to see the bands and the artists that I admired go through the Whiskey, and for me to be on the same stage as them. I mean, I'm talking about legends, right? I'm talking about all the way back to the Doors, right? I mean, legendary artists. And for me, when I stepped on that stage, I was just like, wow, this is so unique. I've got great pictures playing at the Whiskey. And as you already know, we also perform in other places. I remember, I can't think of the venue. Do you remember the venue you came out to hang with us at that live show that we did? I can't think of it. It's in West Hollywood. Remember where we did that variety show?
No, I can't remember the name, but yes, I definitely remember that. In fact, I have a couple of pictures and I'll post them. But no, I couldn't remember the name of the place.
That was a fun show. That was a very fun show. I actually flew in from Florida to do that show. Or wait a minute, no, we did 2 shows there. I think you might have been at the first one. That's when I was still living there. So that was a great venue. I wish I could remember the name of the venue, but so yeah, for sure. I mean, California to me is always going to be a big part of me.
And also part of the memories that I shared with you is that you had the opportunity to actually be on the soundtrack for a movie called Garbage. Can you tell us a little bit about that story?
Yes, and before I do say that, I want to thank you, of course, for being the leader that you are, because I cannot forget performing in Panorama City. Okay, so that was huge. I mean, that, I had a lot of fun in that show, open air, right? And I had the opportunity of meeting a lot of good people. Of course, you led the way, and then the awards show that you did was just awesome. So yeah, thank you for that, man. That's definitely very important to me. Panorama City is it part of San Fernando Valley?
Absolutely, we're right on the heart of the San Fernando Valley.
Perfect. All right, so there you go, man. I mean, again, coming full circle, it means a lot, man. So about the movie, yeah, I mean, the movie, wow, that was awesome. I mean, for us to be at the Chinese Theater of all places, again, iconic, legendary theater, and I'm talking, worldwide. I mean, when you see a picture of the Chinese Theater, that's Los Angeles, Hollywood. I mean, that's where dreams are made, right? So as you know, we walked the red carpet. I mean, as we're walking down the red carpet, we're getting all these interviews along the way, right? And just walking in and sitting down in that theater, there was a good amount of people in that theater screening that movie. And of course, hearing your own music and hearing your own voice at the Chinese Theater of all places, right? Every time I see pictures or I see clips on YouTube of the Chinese Theater, I was like, wow, I was there. I walked the red carpet. I was at a movie premiere. My music played in those speakers inside that auditorium. I get cheesy like that, right? But yeah, man, it was awesome, man. Absolutely great.
Yeah, I think it's one of the beautiful experiences I had also in my life. I've been to at least six premieres at the Chinese theater, and I still get the same feeling. In fact, the next one is going to be in August. We actually have a movie. It's a movie film festival, and we're going to be back at the Chinese theater because of that. They have asked us to actually do the grand opening, so we're going to cut the ribbon and do a full
Beautiful.
ceremony for them. So but yeah, but I think it's one of the beauties about living in LA and living in the San Fernando Valley or so close to Los Angeles is that you get to visit some of these iconic places. The same thing you were saying, the whiskey. At a very early stage, I used to follow a band called Wild Child, which is the band that imitates the Doors. And I used to love that because they really come. That's the closest you're ever gonna come to actually experiencing the Doors. If you were not alive in the '60s like me, but then the closest you're gonna get to is to actually watch this band. And I know the history of the whiskey for the same reason. Yeah, pretty much any of the big stars that we know nowadays, they went through that. I mean, it's like it's part of the whole equation. You want to make it big, you gotta someday make it to the whiskey. So I
That's
think yes,
right.
so I think it's an iconic place, and also it's a token that you can add to your career. To say if you're in the music industry, you can definitely add that and say, you know what, yes, we were here, yes, we were part of this, and definitely I think that's one of the beauties that Solaz had experienced to actually be in some of the most. You even had a chance to actually be on the top of Capitol Records taking some pictures. I've seen that before
Yeah.
somewhere, so I remember that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I got to experience Capitol Records and the whole history behind Capitol Records. My goodness, man, that's incredible. I mean, that the kind of history. You know what I think about when I think of LA County and like you said, Capitol Records. I mean, so much. Think about right the San Fernando Valley or LA County. Let's just say, you know, impacting the world at a global scale like that. That's just unreal. I'm talking about when you say Capitol Records, we're going back to the Beatles, right? I mean, the Beatles, how much more iconic can you get than the Beatles? And the Beatles being signed by Capitol Records and doing what they did, right? I mean, it's just unreal. So like you're absolutely right. Living in LA, I don't think anybody that's a resident there should take for granted everything they have within such within proximity like that.
yeah, and we often do. I gotta admit, we often make that mistake because this is where we live. We just simply pass by, or we simply stay home, and once in a while, it actually clicks in my head, and it makes me understand that there's millions of people around the globe that they would love to have an opportunity to just take a picture right in front of one of these iconic places, and sometimes we just take it for granted. So once in a while, I actually like to visit some of the business. Sometimes I'll go grab pizza, to that area just because I understand what you're saying. To say, you know what, don't take it for granted. People travel from all over the country to get an In-N-Out burger. Let's say, that's something else that you don't get in every single community or every single state or every single country. So we
From
gotta
all
be
over the
about,
world, Saul, from all over the world.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen, the whole purpose that we brought you today was because of this song, Endless Summer. So tell us the story about Endless Summer, how it was born, how it ended up being in one of the cities, and how is it that now you created a video which it has thousands and thousands of views on YouTube.
Well, Endless Summer, I probably came from the excessive heat, the excessive South Florida heat. Yeah, there it is. There it is, my labor of love, right? My labor of love. And no, Endless Summer really it was inspired. I have to be just completely transparent and not be anything else than I am. But ever since I was young, you know, I think different artists are inspired by different things. But honestly, I just have to be. This is not a pose or just any sort of marketing thing. It's just the truth. It's me being me, right? I've always been inspired by girlfriends and pretty women and all of those things. And back in the day, more so because I was so much younger, right? So um, it was a personal experience of just meeting a beautiful woman and just feeling the magic of the newness of it, right? and her not being able to stick around for very long and me knowing it. So it's me just being completely taken, swept off my feet by the presence of this beautiful woman, which happened. She actually came from Chicago, really. She was visiting South Florida. And I knew that as intense as it wasn't going to last forever, because from day one, we knew that she was going to leave and live somewhere else. So we spent the summer together, right, in South Florida, and a lot of great things happened, of course. And before I knew it, when she left, right, it just came about. I'm sitting there with my guitar playing around, and very quickly that little riff came in, that little intro riff, and then the melody started coming out. And then of course, all I was thinking about is how elated I had been, and then how bummed out I was that now she's gone, right? So I said, hey, you know what? I might as well call it an endless summer. So really was the beginnings of that song. And I had, as you already know, you were, again, thank you. And everybody, that's watching this, I want to thank you again from the bottom of my heart, where you were present there as a friend, as someone that believed in Solaz. And as we already know, well, maybe, I don't know, everybody knows, but you and I know that I was going through the most devastating, period of my life, and just trying to keep on going forward, even though I was, emotionally just, exhausted. But as we all know, we filmed the music video again, fortunately, full circle, right back to San Fernando Valley, which is awesome. And, the whole video, as we know, wasn't all San Fernando Valley, because Santa Monica is not San Fernando Valley, right? Right.
No, in fact, they are their own cities. So
Okay,
Santa
they're their own
city of Santa Monica as a city.
Oh, got it. Yeah. So we know we did a lot of scenery in Santa Monica. We did a lot of shooting in Marina del Rey that made it to the video. And then, of course, the live performance of the band is in San Fernando Valley. And, of course, so you see some scenes of the Walk of Fame, right? The hero of the video, per se, the main character walking through and stuff. So I loved filming that video over there. And now that I look back, I'm forever grateful to you and all of my friends and everybody involved in the video, because it's amazing, because I was so absent. I really was. I mean, I was gone. It was like I was fighting through this hurricane of emotions, of devastation. And now that I look back, I said, you know what? I never would have made it without Saul. I never would have made it with my friends around me. It just never would have happened. It was like they just took and ran with it. And I would just, hopefully make it through the end of the project.
Well, thank you so much for making me part of that project. It was the first music video that I was ever involved with, and now it's on my credits on on IMDb as the only music video that I ever produced. So I want to include Matias Mesa. You probably don't even know the name, but I got to include Matias Mesa. He's the owner of the club where we filmed. So I got to give him credit and say thank you, because thanks to him also, he let us borrow the club to be able to take those shots. So
yeah, it's true, man. Thank you, sir. Yes, if he watches this, a big thank you from the bottom of my heart. I remember in those scenes, Sal, when we were filming the performance of the band there at his restaurant. Let me tell you something. I wanted to cry like a baby. I cannot believe that I made it through, because it's something that I've never experienced before, And one thing I will tell you on a positive note is, if you look at the comments that I've gotten on the video, which is closing in on 1 million views. If you look at the comments, if you look through, ongoing, you see a lot of people say, man, great video. And wow, what an awesome video. And so the whole team behind it, all of you guys, I mean, you made such a huge difference. I mean, and now, forever, hopefully they'll be entertained and have that as an immortal testament of what a good group of people together can do.
Well, thank you so much for spending time with us. And but before you go, I wanted to give you a space to actually, if you want to give thanks to some of the people that supported you through the years of your career, all the way from the beginning to the end. I always like to do that, because we often forget, nobody gets made by itself. You need to have a group of people, you need to have a team and people to support you. So I always give a space for people to think, whether it's your parents, whether it's the people who were there from the beginning, to support you. We like to put any names that you can have out there to actually give them a little bit of credit. I'm writing a book, and that's one of the things that I so love to do is I like to share and put names of the people, give them the proper credit in anything that we do, so that they know they made an impact and they actually made a difference in our lives.
Wow. So you're on the spur of the, on just off the cuff, you want me to just start naming,
Go ahead. We
naming
got the
names?
time. Go ahead. We got the
Oh,
time.
okay.
So if
Wow.
you
Here
got
we go.
anybody,
All right. I have to say, first and foremost, I do have to say God. I am forever grateful to our omnipotent creator for giving me the talent and for giving me the stamina to fight through which, has turned out to be one of the most challenging career paths that I've ever elected. So for sure, our creators, number one. Number two, of course, my parents, my mother and father. I have to say that I'm probably one of the luckiest people to have had the mother and father that I had and enjoyed growing up. They were key for me to get to where I've gotten. As a matter of fact, that album that you were showing there, that album that the first, yeah, that one right there with Endless Summer on it, and the majority of it was financed by my parents. So you can imagine, okay, you can imagine, what kind of gratitude and how indebted I am to them. And so for sure, my parents, my brother, of course, who actually played in Solaz on some shows early on. He was one of the very first incarnations of Solaz. He was my bass player, super talented musician. I wish he was still playing bass, but he was the first bass player in Solaz, and so my brother is a big thank you. Of course, you, Saul, who to me, you are. It's hard to put into words, man, but I consider you a longtime friend. I see you as a forever friend. I think that you're, in many ways, you and I are kindred spirits, I believe. You're one of the first ones to without having anything to do with Solaz or the band or the concept. You're one of the first believers, and you stepped up and said, "Man, this is good stuff. Let's push it, right?" So, of course, you uh, all day long. Um, I have to thank, oh, Jesus, his name slips my mind. I hate that. The gentleman who put together that movie in LA, the garbage from. Do you remember his name?
no,
Oh
not
my
at
God,
all.
I feel so terrible. I wish I would have been prepared for this. Um, but he knows who he is. Okay, great guy. You're right. Great vision. He included the music of Solaz in that movie. Of course, some of my early teachers, my music teachers. Um, I will say his name, Jeffrey Ayers. It'd be amazing if you saw this. Jeffrey Ayers was my very first music teacher in high school. So he was the band conductor. I was part of the jazz band, and he played a big role in me getting better as a musician. I want to thank Lou Moad. Lou Moad was my classical guitar teacher.
Mhm.
Huge impact in my life. I actually studied classical guitar. My beginnings of classical guitar in college was through a scholarship. And that's pretty ironic because I was not a classical guitarist. I was a pop rock guitarist. And I actually managed with very primitive skills to get some scholarship money to study classical guitar. So Lou Moad, of course. Man, I wish I would have been prepared. There's so many people. There's too many to. Of course, my bandmates, that are still with me today, who actually have traveled with me internationally. Alberto Nieves on drums and Richard Cruz on bass guitar. Those guys have been with me for many, many years. For different unforeseen circumstances, they couldn't be with me when I was in LA, but now we're back together again and moving forward. Who else can I? Man, it's just, I wish you would have told me this beforehand. I would have been a lot faster and a lot easier. I would have taken time to write this down. Um, I guess I have to say, without really naming a lot of names, I have to say this, and I don't want this to sound hokey, but I have to say it. I have to thank all of my girlfriends. Growing up from my puppy love, to all of my girlfriends afterwards before, I got to this point. But I just have to thank them because a lot of my music, especially off that album that you have in your hands, came from experiences that they had me experience. Some of the heartbreak, some of the some of the excitement, all of that stuff that we all go through. So I have to thank all of my girlfriends, of course, and hopefully they know who they are when they see this. And who else?
You're gonna get all the baby mamas to pop out and say, "Hey, that's where he is."
Yeah, and let's see, who else can I thank? I have to thank. I'm glad you gave me the time since I was unprepared. I have to thank Jorge Antunes. Okay, he was the visionary that put everything together to have us travel overseas for the first time. He went out on a whim, on pure blind faith, and he put us on the cover of magazines over there in South America. And before we knew it, we had a proposal to get out there. So Jorge Antunes is a big thank you to him for believing in the band when when we didn't know, what would another country think about this band that comes out wearing masks and right, even way before we were required to wear masks, right? Right. So that's definitely for Jorge Antunes, and just I have a long list, man. I think I'd have to email it to you.
We'll put him on the credits.
We'll put him on the credits.
Well, listen, I want to thank you. And one of the reasons I got to say, one of the reasons why I am a fan of Solaz, not just because I know you, not because I had the chance to be one of your friends, but really you have great music. And anybody who knows how to listen, not just hear, but actually listen, you can listen the work that you put behind it. I mean, you listen to every note, every single instrument, and you can hear, first of all, there's a lot of quality in the recording. So you use great equipment. And I don't even know if back then we had the proper computers. So it was real. It was actually, people playing. It was people actually, putting their heart and soul into creating such an album or creating such music. And I've been a fan ever since I met you and you gave me a single. I still have a single, for, I think it was Legal Love, is it?
No, Embrujo.
Embrujo, there you go. Yeah, that's the name of it. So yeah, I got a single of that. And ever since I listened to it and I keep on listening, I say, you know what, this is a really great music. So I think your soul, your spirit, and who you are as an artist really is projected in the music that you play and on the album when you get the final result. So I gotta praise you for that, and I gotta say, yeah, you're a great musician, and you got a talent, man.
Thanks so much, man. Thank you so much, really, really. And you know what, that means a lot to me, because what you just said, listening, and for you, it tells me on what level you are when it comes to music. Somebody like you that can really appreciate the detail behind the work of art, right? And I really thank you for that. It means a lot to me because, making a song is a lot of work. Okay, I'm talking gobs and gobs of hours of blood, sweat, and tears. Could you imagine a whole album? I mean, I can't even begin to tell you the kind of blood, sweat, and tears that go into it. So for you to say that, it means so much. I realize that album is very innocent in many ways. You can hear some of the innocence behind it. I think Nexo, the follow-up, is much more mature in many ways. But for sure, man, thank you so much for saying that. It gives me a jolt of energy to say, you know what, keep on writing, keep on producing, make new things.
Yeah, I mean, I can easily carry here. Some of my other friends, I was just telling somebody today, some of my other friends and some of the people that I know, they send me their album. And sometimes straightforward, honestly, I support them because they are my friends and because I know them. But I listen to the music and I'm like, well, you could have done this better, or you could have, improved something. But I listen to yours and no, you can tell easily. I mean, I can almost see you in the studio angry. I can almost see you in the studio, tired, complaining, but it's still going on and say no until it comes out the way it's supposed to. You know what? No, let's do it again. Let's try it one more time. I can almost see that happening just by the result of the track. You can hear it say, you know what? This was not done in 20 minutes. This was not done, in a couple of hours just because it has to get out of the way. No, it really felt like it's perfection. Like you really, in order to reach that level, you must spend, hours and hours to actually make it happen. So I think it's a great album. I love your music. I really like your music. So the reason why I mentioned that is because you said you didn't know what other countries were going to think. Well, it's the same thing. I'm pretty sure that people that know music, they listen to it and say, you know what, this is great. It's as simple as that. It's great music. and I had the honor to actually experience it live and on the album. And that's something else that is very rare to capture, to be able to sound just like you sound on the album when you perform live. And I think it's something else that you can actually do. You can actually deliver a performance. Be on the top of that, I think you have a vision where, I mean, look at the background that I'm using right now. When you look at a stage like that, you're not seeing something simple. You're not seeing, you know what, it's just somebody in a bar, it's just somebody, in a small restaurant trying to perform. Every single time since the first time I met you, you had your banner, and then afterwards, now I guess it got to the digital, version now. But yeah,
Digital
but it felt
age.
like, yeah, and you had little keychain. You gave me a little keychain that says, Solaz. You had the postcards made, so I can tell that also you put a lot of money, a lot of work into it, just to make a first impression, just to actually look like you're a full professional, and that's exactly what you are. And I was impressed by every little thing that you guys did. The timing. I know that you're pretty strict also about it, even for this interview. I know that you're very strict on your schedule and you like to be on time and you like to be professional. So that shows also in everything that you do. So congratulations. I think you're a great artist, and I think you do really well moving forward, even much more than you already have done.
Wow. So thank you so much for those awesome words, man. On that note, before I forget, because you mentioned some of the merchandising, I cannot leave out Michael Bistocchi. Michael Bistocchi was a key friend and someone who would help us with a lot of this merchandising. So he lives in LA, by the way. So I have to say him, and make sure he gets credit for that. A lot of those keychains and stuff, that was all his ideas, and I'm forever grateful to that. And I was going to say one last thing. Oh, this other thing I was going to say that I thought was kind of cool. There's a gentleman by the name of Michael Fuller, which I also think Michael Fuller has mastered some of the classic albums that we all grew up to. Okay, I'm talking big names. I'm going back as far back as the Bee Gees. Okay, that's how far back I'm going. Michael Fuller has got a massive track record. Well, guess what? One of the reasons why that album sounds the way it sounds, the one that you have in your hands, is because Michael Fuller mastered that record.
Oh, okay.
So the gentleman that mastered that record is the same gentleman that mastered the Bee Gees, Rod Stewart. Okay, I'm talking massive names. So you're right. Expensive equipment and a lot of expensive time went into this album for
Yeah,
sure.
you can definitely hear it.
Yep.
Well, thank you again for spending some time with us. We truly appreciate your time and still hanging out with us a little bit. We look forward to hopefully see you one of these years, up here in LA back, and physical, not just through Zoom or not just through phone. But I look forward to meeting you again, and hopefully we can put something together, maybe throw another music video somewhere someday.
Oh, I'd love to do that, man. Yeah, I'd love to do that. And as soon as the new video is done, which I'm keeping my fingers crossed, we're seeing, there's been some challenges and some complications with post-production and different things, some logistics and some manpower things that's held it back a little bit. But once it's done, like you already know, here, the bottom line is I'm willing to shoot more footage if we need to, just to make sure it comes out right. But we've captured some great footage, and you're going to be the first to get the new music video. I've already seen a preliminary edit, and it looks hot, but it's still not good enough. As you said, I'm very picky, so I'm going to be working some more on it. But you're going to be the first one to get it, and I'll make sure I do something special for you because, like I said, man, just your words alone at the end, man. Thank you for that, Saul. It really means so much to me for you to be so sincere in your comments about what you hear and what you've seen in Solaz.
Well, thank you so much, and I wish you all the best. And I'll be more than happy to continue to support Solaz, whether it's through the radio, whether it's through YouTube in this case, or any other way that we can help you out, locations or whatever you guys want to do. We look forward to working with you again. God bless, and please say hello to your family.
I will, Saul. Thank you so much, man. God bless you, and I can't wait to see you again. It's going to happen soon. Now that we're at the tail end of this craziness, right?
Yes, sir.
All right,
Take
man.
care, boss. Bye.
All right, man. You too. Bye.